Nyarga, you're going to be live in 30 seconds.
You can put the info like that.
Okay, you're on. तो फोन है ना, तो जरा अजून ऍडजस्ट. तो तिच्याकडे असं समोर कर, इथे आणून ठेव. इथे आण ओय, इथे आण. हा बस, इथे इथे ठेव, तिच्याकडे फेस करून ठेव. हा हा, जवळ अजून. हा, गो फॉर इट.
This, like I'm doing this too, but for one segment, it's kind of complicated. It's like so start with.
You're already live.
Okay. Alright.
It's on.
It's okay, I got it. I didn't notice that there is such a wonderful book already printed, but I'm going to go out of your syllabus. I was planning on singing Saci-Sutashtakam. May I do that? Yeah. You want to play it? I can play. Okay. You play the saxophone? Thank you. Sorry, I can take this.
Yeah.
picture. I don't bite, and I did take a bath. So you can come closer.
No problem. Okay. That one. Oh, yeah. That's one thing.
So since it's out of syllabus, I've got my copy. So how many of you are familiar with Saci-Sutashtakam? You are wonderful. So do you all have your phones? Yes, you can look up Saci-Sutashtakam. So Ananda Mataji was telling me how you all study Bhagavad Gita here regularly. But since we're between Nityananda Trayadashi and God Purnima, I thought maybe we can go a little bit out of syllabus. Might be a little new for you, but try to follow along. You got the words?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Saci-Sutashtakam is a beautiful prayer. Ashtaka means 8 paragraphs, Durga Ashtakam, so many Ashtakams we see. Nandanandashtakam, Radhikashtakam. So whenever any personality is glorified in 8 paragraphs, that is called Ashtakam. So Saci-Suta. Suta means
Sun.
sun. And Sachi is Sachi Devi, who is the mother of Lord Chaitanya. That's why we celebrate God Purnima. We all know Lord Chaitanya. Have you heard of Lord Chaitanya? Okay. So this is a beautiful prayer glorifying Lord Chaitanya. I'm going to read the translation first. Just because, and maybe we can go around, or maybe I should read since I have the mic, right? So his complexion is the hue of fresh cream tinged with kumkum. He is the ever-fresh Cupid who shoots arrows of newly blossoming flowers. He bears newer and newer moods of emotional ecstasies. He is fond of performing novel dances. He makes ever new jokes that cause much laughter. His brilliant luster is like the freshly cast gold. I bow down to Gaura, the beautiful son of Mother Sachi. He is endowed with ever fresh love of Godhead. His radiant luster is like the color of fresh butter. His fresh attire is arranged in ever new fashions. He relishes ever new mellows of love for Krishna. He shines in ninefold new ways while executing the ninefold process of devotion. He is permeated with the most auspicious loving nature. I bow down to Gaura, the beautiful son of Mother Sachi. He is absorbed in devotion to Sri Hari. He maintains the chanting of the names of Hari. While chanting, he counts the holy names on the fingers of his hands. He is addicted to the name of Hari. He always has tears of love welling in his eyes. I bow down to Gaura, the beautiful son of Mother Sachi. He is always removing the suffering of material existence for mankind. He is the goal of life for persons who are addicted to their supreme interest. He inspires men to become like honeybees, eager for the honey of Krishna Prem. He removes the burning fever of the material world. I bow down to Gaura, the beautiful son of Mother Sachi. He motivates pure devotion unto himself. He is most attractive to his beloved servitors. By his dramatic dancing, he exhibits the characteristics of his king of hormones. He causes the minds of beautiful young village women to dance. I bow down to Gaura, the beautiful son of Mother Sachi. He plays kartals as his throat emits sweet melodious sounds, and the vibrant notes of the veena are softly played. He thus inspires the devotees to perform dramatic dancing that is infused with aspects of his own devotional service. I bow down to Gaura, the beautiful son of Mother Sachi. He is accompanied by the Sankirtan movement, which is the religious practice for the age of Kali. He is the son of Nanda Maharaj, come again. He is the extraordinarily brilliant ornament of the earth. His preaching mood is suitably adapted to the cycle of birth and death. His consciousness is fixed in meditation on his own form of Krishna. He is always accompanied by his transcendental abode. I bow down to Gaura, the beautiful son of Mother Sachi. His eyes, the soles of his feet, and his clothing are reddish, like the color that heralds the rising sun. As he utters his own holy names, his voice falters. He awakens a sweet flavor to life throughout the universe. I bow down to Gaura, the beautiful son of Mother Sachi. When I used to be a young teenage girl like you, we used to sing this for one whole month, right from Nityanand Trayadashi to God Purnima. Every day in the morning, we used to sing Saci-Sutashtakam as a preparation. Been a really long time I've touched the harmonium. So nice to be with all of you here today. And nice to see some familiar faces and some new faces. Is it okay if I sit here? Or you want me to move there?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, for some reason there was some audio glitch and the Kirtan didn't.
I don't think they missed anything though. If that's because Zoom is not very
I think so, yeah.
Sankirtan friendly. This stays. Hare Krishna. So there's a lot of familiar faces and a lot of new faces. So my name is Govinda Priya. Thank you for having me here. We haven't met before. What is your name? Kamala? Kamala? Nice to meet you. And we met.
Yeah.
What is your name?
Him.
Hemalata. Beautiful. That's Radharani's name, actually. And pretty much everybody else I do know. So, is there an echo, Prabhu?
Yeah, right.
Thank you. So, I thought since we're in between Nityanand Trayadashi and God Purnima, we can meditate on the beautiful pastimes of Saci-Sutta, who we just beautifully glorified in the song we just sung. So I wanted you all to pull up. This is all out of syllabus. So you're not going to need your folders anymore. But if you can pull up this verse, we'll try to recite it together. And then we'll try to break it down and study this verse a bit. So this verse is from Chaitanya Charitamrita. And Chaitanya Charitamrita is divided into 3 parts. One is called Adi Lila, it's called Madhya, and Antya. Very simple. Adi means before, Madhya means the middle, and Antya means towards the end. And these beautifully describe the pastimes of Saci-Sutta, who's Gauranga, also known as Gauranga. So this beautifully description of the pastimes, the life of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is described in this book, Chaitanya Charitamrita. And since you all have been studying Bhagavad Gita, we all know that there's no other book that can take the credit of something being spoken by the Lord, right? That's why it's called Song of the Lord. Bhagavad Gita was actually spoken by the Lord himself. But sometimes when I came here, Ananda Mataji very kindly introduced me, right? She gave you a little brief description about what I do, where I live, and that. Similarly, Chaitanya Charitamrita gives us a brief insight into the life of Lord Chaitanya, his wonderful pastimes. So sometimes when you want to get to know somebody, not only do you need to hear their words, but you also need to understand their lifestyle. You need to understand what they do, how they behave. And that gives us a deeper understanding of a person. Isn't that true? Like if I just know your name and I just hear you, but I know nothing, no personal details about you, it doesn't let you gel or bond, right? That's why in many business meetings, they say bring your family. Why? Because you get to see an intimate relationship. You get to see how people are interacting with each other in an intimate setting. That helps us develop and strengthen our relationship. So excellent studying Bhagavad Gita. But off and on, if you can hear about the lifestyle of these great personalities and everyone connected to these great personalities, then that sparks a closeness. It's like, I know about you. I know you like green. I know you like to eat this. I know you like, I know a little bit more than more than what you say, right? It's more of an intimate personal. So I picked a verse. It's one of my favorite verses. It's a difficult verse to recite, but we'll try. I'll go first. Yes, it's Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela, 10.119. Did everybody pull it up? CC Madhya 10.119. Sorry, I put everything out of syllabus for you all today. I should have sent this to you before, right? But I just did it like an hour before I was about to leave. We all have it? Yeah. Perfect. Heluddhunnita kedaya vishadaya pranmilat amodaya Shamya Shastra Vivadaya Rasadaya Chittorpitonmadaya Shashvat Bhakti Vinodaya Samadaya Madhurya Maryadaya Shri Chaitanya Daya Nidhe Tavadaya Bhuyada Mondodaya. Would anybody like to try? We can go one line at a time. Okay, let's try. Heluddhunnita khedaya vishadaya. Repeat. Heluddhunnita khedaya vishadaya. Pronmilat amodaya. Pronmilat amodaya. Shamya Chastra Vivadaya Rasadaya. Chittarpiton Madaya. Shashvat Bhakti Vinodaya Samadaya
Bhakti Vinodaya Samadaya
Madhurya Maryadaya Shri Chaitanya Daya Nidhe Tava Daya Bhuyada Mondo Daya. Okay, for the kids here, how many times does the word Daya come in this verse? Can you count? Ke Daya, Vishwa Daya, Amo Daya, Viva Daya, Rasa Daya, Ma Daya, Vinodaya, Madaya, Maryadaya, Chaitanya Daya, Tava Daya, Do Daya. How many times did we get the word Daya? 12 times the word Daya comes in this verse. This is explaining the wonderful Daya factor of the Lord. You know, when Krishna was performing his pastimes in this world, what was his USP, like you say? What was his modus operandi? You know, if anybody did something wrong, he came, he said, finish, shoot an arrow, destroy. I've come here to establish dharma, right? Many of you are software engineers here, right? So if your laptop stops working, just get a new one, destroy this one. But when Lord Chaitanya came a little more than 500 years ago, he said, you know what? I don't destroy the hardware. I just format. His USP was not to kill the killer or the sinner, but to transform the sinner in such a way that was so compassionate. And that is why he's known as the most munificent incarnation, because he purified living entities. He knew that there was potential, and he had the patience to not just simply say, okay, you've made a mistake, this is the end of it, let me establish dharma. But his rule was that let me transform the people. So in that particular incarnation, his modus operandi was daya. And that's why when you read a beautiful verse like this, it just encapsulates the mood of Lord Chaitanya. And we'll break this down and try to understand what kind of daya and what kind of aspects of daya Lord Chaitanya actually exhibited. Not only did he exhibit, he expected each and every one of us to also not only imbibe that daya, but share it and reciprocate. You know, nowadays it's the time of social media, and motivational speakers is the most thriving business. And of course, you know, it's a good thing in one way because it motivates us to do things. But most of the motivational speakers speak about forgiveness, speak about transformation, speak about going internal. And all of that is nothing new. It's all there within our scriptures. Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda were actually the originators of this whole thing, to see beyond what a person is doing and actually help them transform. It's most munificent incarnation. And this incarnation appears once in a day of Brahma. Do you know how many years is that? Earthly years? Does anybody know? 1.64 billion years. One day of Brahma. That's when Lord Chaitanya comes. And he was just on this planet little over 500 years. And we're going to celebrate his appearance day. Just on which day in March? 13th of March, just coming up. So how much of preparation the heart needs to welcome a Lord who is so merciful. So merciful. So let's look at this beautiful, beautiful verse. You know, we can try to read a part of this translation. I don't have the translation here, neither do I have the book. But over here, it says, Helud dhundita kedaya. What does the translation say? Helo dhundita kindaya.
Very easily driven away.
Very easily driven away. And what is he driving away very easily?
Lamentation.
Lamentation. Material lamentation. How many of us have ever lamented in our lives? All of us, right? I did not get this, or oh my God, I could have done better. My scores don't look great. My grades don't look great. I didn't get that promotion. I could have done better. I could have found a better partner. We just went through Valentine's Day, but we all have lamented about material lamentation. We all have lamented, right? But what does Lord Chaitanya do here? It says, Helu dhundita kedaya. It completely drives away the material lamentation. How can that happen? Simply by hearing about Lord Chaitanya and his life, how can that drive away material lamentation? Just think about it. Because when you hear the wonderful pastimes of Lord Chaitanya, you know, there's a beautiful pastime of Lord Chaitanya where one of the devotees of Lord Chaitanya, he's blissfully chanting the holy names. And Lord Chaitanya comes to him and he says, you don't have to go to work. You're a householder. You need to go to work. And he says, I know that everything that I need will be provided to me. That's the kind of faith he had. Don't try this till the time you have that kind of faith. Show up at your work. Because if we don't have that faith and we try that, it might not work. But when this wonderful devotee, who is an eternal associate of the Lord, he said, Lord Chaitanya, if I need something, and if within the clap of 3 times I don't get it, then I know that I'm not a sincere devotee of yours. So at that point, Lord Chaitanya, what did he say? He said, even if Goddess Lakshmi is going around with a begging bowl in her hand, you will never be deprived of any opulence. So was he lamenting for material lamentation? Did he have any worries? Similarly, for the past 10 minutes that we've been here, how many of us completely forgot about the stress we have? We all have a lot of stress, maybe deadlines, maybe things to do. But simply by hearing the wonderful pastimes of the Lord, it takes away the material lamentation within our hearts. And that's what this beautiful verse, the first line of this verse says. What does it say again? Vishadaya. Vishva Daya. What is it translated as?
Which
Purifies. Purifies everything. Purifies what? Over here, It is often said that if you want to be a billionaire, then you hang out with billionaires, right? If you want to be a drunkard, then you hang out with drunkards. If you want to be a doctor, then, go shadow another doctor, try to associate, try to see. If whatever you want to choose, whatever profession you want to choose, you need to hang out with the same kind of people. So over here, when it's saying Vishwadaya purifies everything, how can it purify everything? Because Lord Chaitanya himself is the most pure. So the minute we start associating with something pure, and you see the pure lifestyle, not only of Lord Chaitanya, but also of anyone that was following him, anyone that was connected with him, simply by seeing how they dealt with people, how they lived their lives, they become our aspiration. That qualities we start to imbibe within our life, within our hearts, right? There's this whole recent, controversy about a very vulgar kind of talk show. I think it's called India's Got Latent or something like that, where everyone was expressing concern about what impact it's going to have on the youth. That's looking at them as their role models, right? A lot of people now want to take up, motivational speaking as a career because it's being so lucrative in this day and age. So they're looking at role models like this. And a lot of ministers and public personalities, they were all very concerned about how that's going to impact our youth and the future. Why? Because you become what you associate with. But when we start associating with purity, with the pastimes of the Lord, with the devotees, with an association where the foundation is living a pure life, then what can we expect? Vishwadaya purifies everything. So this is the second characteristic of the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. Let's move ahead. Pronad Milad Amodaya. Pronad Milad. Bliss. What is it translated as? Transcendental bliss?
Awakening transcendental.
Awakening transcendental bliss. So now, is it that we want to only stop at being pure? Is that enough? No. We are social beings. Not only do we want to be pure, but we want to have meaningful relationships. We want to be happy. If you have a wonderful cage, golden cage, that example is given very often, right? You're given a golden cage, but you're there in there alone. If just purity, cleanliness was the only thing enough, then there would be many people that would be very happy. Many celebrities that have it all spick and span, everybody at the beck and call. But no, what it's giving us over here is Pronman Milad Amodaya, transcendental bliss. Even if we cannot experience it at this moment, we off and on, while practicing, while being in the association of devotees, we get moments, we get a little glimpse of what it really means to be happy. Isn't it? Have any of you had experiences in any celebration, maybe some really ecstatic kirtan, maybe some really ecstatic katha, or maybe just some association with a great saintly person? Maybe someone said something that really gives us that bliss. which you cannot really get through material. We already chalked out the material lamentation, right? We also spoke about purity. But we're rising beyond purity. Now we're talking about having fun. Transcendental bliss. Transcendental bliss does not just fade away, like having a cup of alcohol or something like that, which will fade away the next day. It's not about that. It's like Srila Prabhupada said that, when he had some students that were addicted to substances, he said that, this will keep you high for a little bit. But if you chant the holy names of the Lord and you actually develop love for him, you can stay high forever. How can that happen? It's because you start experiencing the bliss, the joy, and that's not subjected to something external. That's not subjected to something external in a way that you have to crave for. Even though we crave for the mercy of the Lord, but it's not a substance. Moving forward, so this was the third. What did we talk about? Can somebody tell me the three that we spoke about, the three kinds of daya? Let's do one at a time. Anyone remembers?
Lamentation.
Material lamentation. What was the second one we spoke about?
Vishadaya.
Vishadaya. Purify. And what was the third one?
Vishadaya.
You're awake. Thank you. I thought I put you all to sleep. So moving ahead. Shamyash Shastra Vivadaya. How beautiful. Now over here, there's often times, what is that translated as? Disagreements? Can you tell us the translation?
Mitigating of revealed scriptures, disagreements.
Yes, mitigating of disagreements. Now, if Mataji, you and your husband ever have disagreements? Of course, right? Yeah. Anyone else here is a couple? Prabhu, you do? You sure? I don't think she can ever have. You have disagreements, Prabhu?
I always agree with that.
Disagreements is, do you have disagreements with your wife?
Yeah.
You do? You sure? I do too. I have them long distance too. My husband's in India, but I made sure I had some disagreement with him before I came. So I can speak from realization. But disagreements is inevitable. And the disagreements over here that Lord Chaitanya is trying to reconcile is disagreements in the scriptural injunctions. If you read the Bible, it will say some philosophy. Sometimes it might seem contradictory from what the Quran says. And even between our Vedic literatures, there is Advaitavad, where they say that everything becomes one, right? Then there's Dvaitavad, where it says that no, the soul remains as the soul and the Lord remains as the Lord. So there is controversy even amongst scriptural injunctions based on how you're seeing. So what did Lord Chaitanya actually do? He introduced the wonderful principle of Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva. That means simultaneously oneness and simultaneously different. That might be a big subject matter to discuss. But by giving us that understanding that I am one with the Lord in one way, at the same time, I am separate from the Lord. To me, that is a big relief. Just imagine if everything was just lumped into one lump. Okay, we have prasadam after this program. So what if I said we would have rice, dal, sabji, kheer, puri, halwa, everything just all mixed up into one little bowl and give it to you. Who would like that? Not me, for sure. No. But at the same time, I wouldn't mind rice, dal, and sabji together. Right? So that uniqueness of being one with the Lord in some ways, and at the same time being different, maintaining our identity, that concept of achintya bheda bheda tattva was elaborated and explained by Lord Chaitanya. And that is the fourth mercy that he exhibited, that is explained in this beautiful verse. Rasadaya. So over here, after he, not only does he give us this understanding of the simultaneously oneness and different, he gives us rasadaya. What is rasa? Mellows, relationships, rasas. Now that we know that we are different from the Lord, right? We're different from the Lord. Now, you have a child, you have a child. So you have some maternal relationship with someone. You have a mother. You also have your mother you have a relationship with her. You have a husband. So you have a spousal relationship. You have some colleagues. And you have an office or a job, or you serve someone. We all have different relationships, right? That we thrive on. If we only had one kind of relationship, that probably wouldn't satisfy us completely. That's why there is so many fertility clinics here, right? If only a spousal relationship is enough, then we probably wouldn't need, we could be satisfied, we wouldn't need. There is different kinds of relationships that people can thrive on. And similarly, we have one kind of desired relationship with the Lord. And that has been explained by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his teachings to the Goswamis, who elaborated very deeply in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu and Nectar of Devotion, these wonderful books, where the 5 rasas has been explained, which gives us a little insight, just a glimpse of what it means to have relationship with the Lord. When we look at how Mother Yashoda was tending to Krishna, we can just taste a little bit of the Vatsalya rasa. When we see the relationship of how the gopis associated with Krishna, we can experience the Parakya rasa, right? The queens of Dwarka, how they exchanged loving exchanges with Krishna. We get a glimpse how Arjuna experienced friendship with Krishna. We get a glimpse. So those rasas, when they were explained by Lord Chaitanya to the Goswamis, this rasa daya aspect of the Lord was exhibited. This mercy of giving us these 5 rasas and explaining us these mellows was also experienced. So how many have we done so far? 5. I'll check when we come to 8. How many of you remember? So, rasadaya. The next is chitta piton madaya. Now, what happens what do you think happens on Valentine's? When someone has experienced a wonderful Valentine's Day, what happens? Does that make you happy? Right? No, you didn't celebrate Valentine's Day? She's looking at me like, Prabhu, what is this? You didn't celebrate Valentine's Day? He gave flowers. Oh. Doesn't matter. I actually saw a meme somewhere where it says that someone who gives roses only lasts for a year, but someone who gives you, what is it? Cilantro, dhania, they last for lifetime. So fruits is bona fide. So over here, I'm sure she's extremely blissful about it. I'm sure you appreciate the dhania, right? Oh my God. I opened a can of worms. So over here, it's beautifully explaining that when these rasas are experienced, what happens in the next step? Chittor. What is chit? Conscious. And piton madaya. Your heart and your mind experiences jubilation. What is the translation, Mataji? Can you jubilation? Okay. I used a bona fide word. That makes my heart jubilated. But jubilation, the word jubilation, if you look in the dictionary, means overjoyed, excited. So I'm sure if along with Dhanya you would have given her flowers, she'd probably had experienced jubilation, right? So experiencing these rasas and hearing about these rasas, it makes our heart so overjoyed. How Krishna did this, how Mother Yashoda nurtured Krishna, how the gopis were willing to do anything for Krishna. There's a beautiful pastime of when, how many of us are scared to go to the hellish planets? I am. I have no interest, especially when I read the 6th canto of Bhagavatam. I don't want to go to the hellish planets. So there's a beautiful pastime that comes. Narada Muni is asking Krishna that who is your topmost devotee? And at that time, Krishna says, I'm having a headache. Go and ask any of my devotees to give me the dust from their lotus feet so that I may smear it upon my head and that will relieve my headache. That was Krishna's Tylenol. So he said, just bring me the dust from the feet of my devotee. Narada Muni travels everywhere, begging and pleading to the devotees. He said, if we give dust from our feet to Krishna, we'll have to suffer in the hellish planets for lifetimes. Would you give dust from your feet? Maybe not. I don't know. Now that I know the pastime, I'd probably think about it. But in general, I wouldn't, right? But when Narada Muni goes to the gopis and he says, Krishna's having a headache, he needs dust from your feet. The gopi says, yeah, how much you need? Take. So Narada Muni is telling them, don't you know that by giving dust to the Lord, and if he places that on his head, you will have to suffer for millions and millions of lifetimes in the hellish planets. He said, we don't care if that gives pleasure to Krishna for even 1 minute or 1 second. When you hear that kind of jubilation, that kind of pastimes, how much joy it brings to a heart. So allowing us to experience, this was the wonderful Daya of Lord Chaitanya, where he exhibited these wonderful pastimes. He gave us insight into this world. So, Chittor Piton Madaya. And, actually in Antilila 12.1, in CC Antilila 12.1, it says that, O devotees, may the transcendental life and characteristics of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu always be heard, chanted, and meditated. And that is the source of great happiness. Simply by hearing, we become joyful. The next is Shashwat Bhakti Vinodaya. Right? Now we hear about these rasas. We see how different devotees are experiencing these rasas. We realize that we also want to have a relationship with Krishna. So what has Lord Chaitanya given us? He's given us this Shashwat Bhakti Vinodaya. Devotional service. What is it translated as? Stimulating devotional service.
Yeah.
It stimulates devotional service. Like right before sharing this pastime, I said, maybe we don't want to give the dust from our feet. But then what did I say? I said, now that I know this pastime, I probably want to do the same. Right? Why? Because now I also want to be of some service to Krishna. I also want to be some service to the Lord. So when we start hearing about the different rasas, we start experiencing the joy within our heart. Does it stop there? No. Then we want to physically engage. And that's where the Lord gives us this opportunity where we can physically engage. We heard the beautiful Kirtan by Niharika. Maybe some of you all cooked today. Krishnanand played the mridanga. Prabhu always brings the dhania. And so many other people do different kinds of services. But if it is offered to the Lord, it becomes devotional service. When any of the fruits are offered to the Lord, it becomes devotional service. And that is the daya that Mahaprabhu has given us by experiencing Yukta Vairagya. By taking everything that we have, we don't have to artificially renounce anything. Whatever we have in our lives, whether it's our vehicles, whether it's our home, whether it's our families, whether it's opulence that we have, we can serve the Lord with everything that we have. And if we have nothing, we still have this body. And even if that's nothing, we can still hear. Even if we can't hear, we can speak. Nobody can take that away from us. Right? So the opportunity to engage that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu through this Sankirtan movement has given us, where we can all engage. And that is the daya that he's talking about when he's saying Shashwat Bhakti Vinodaya. Samadaya. Samadaya. Not just little bliss. Madaya means over here it's saying ecstasy, full on ecstasy, intoxicated. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself exhibited in his own life. Whenever he heard his own pastimes. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was the incarnation of Krishna, but he was in the mood of Srimati Radharani and the complexion of Srimati Radharani. Right? So Krishna is sitting there and he's thinking, you know what? I'm not having as much fun as my devotees are having. They look so blissful. Even Krishna at one point was feeling like, what is this going on? They are chanting my names and they're enjoying so much. This whole incarnation of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was because of this feeling of seeing the devotees so ecstatic, of seeing how blissful Srimati Radharani was. He says, you know what? I need to experience what she is experiencing. I want to experience the bliss of what she is experiencing when she chants my names. Because I don't feel that bliss chanting my own names. But when I get that mood of Srimati Radharani, I can totally resonate and I can understand and feel the joy that Srimati Radharani is feeling. So he incarnates with the mood and the complexion of Srimati Radharani. He's none other than Rajendra Nandana, none other than Krishna, but with the mood and complexion of Srimati Radharani. Why? To experience that Samadaya, to experience that ecstasy that Srimati Radharani and all the devotees who open their minds and hearts to these different kinds of dayas, these 10 characteristics of daya that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has is being explained in this verse. When we open our minds and hearts to that, then we can also experience this Samadaya, this bliss, this ecstasy. And Madhurya Maryadaya. So over here in Ante Leela 16.1, it is said, let me offer my respectful obeisances unto Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who personally tasted the nectar of ecstatic love for Krishna and then instructed his devotees how to taste it. Thus, he enlightened them by ecstatic love of Krishna to initiate them in the transcendental knowledge. So what has he done? After he tasted the love of Srimati Radharani, he shared this with all the devotees. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was walking through the Jarakanda forest, what was he doing? Simply by the touch of Mahaprabhu and simply by the presence of Mahaprabhu, the animals were also becoming intoxicated. With what? Love of the Godhead. Simply by being in the association of devotees that hear and talk about the Lord, we start to hear and feel joy within our hearts. And that desire to want to understand and love the Lord, I think I lost the mic. The desire to understand and love the Lord becomes even stronger. Can you still hear me back there? So the very understanding, I think I can project loudly. I've got a loud voice. Sure. The mic also became ecstatic. Truly did become ecstatic. It's jumping around now. So it's simply by being in an association where all these dayas are exhibited, we are able to experience this madhurya maryadaya, the limit of love. What is it translated as, Mataji?
Yeah.
Madhurya maryadaya. Maryadaya means limit, right? Apni maryada mein raho. But over here, Mahaprabhu is saying there is no maryada. Madhurya maryadaya. So limitless love for Krishna. You can experience by being within an association that speaks and hears about the Lord. And then it says, Shri Chaitanya Dayanidhe. Who is explaining? Mataji, please translate that for us.
O Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Ocean of Mercy.
Shri Chaitanya Daya Nidhe Tava Daya Bhuyat Amon Do Daya. So over here it's talking about Amon Do Daya. What happens with all of this? When material lamentation is gone, we start feeling bliss, we start feeling joy, we start engaging in devotional service, we become fully ecstatic, we become limitlessly engaged and blissful. What happens? Aman do daya. Aman do daya. Aman do daya. Fortunate. We become extremely fortunate. What is it translated as?
Awakening of good fortune.
Awakening of good fortune. So we become extremely fortunate. That is also one of the dayas of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Simply by experiencing the wonderful pastimes and being in an association where we are able to experience these different dayas that Mahaprabhu in this beautiful verse in CC has been described, what will happen? We cannot be unfortunate. Extreme fortune awakens. We become fortunate. In fact, it's said that every time you clap your hands in Kirtan, what happens? Your lines change. You know, I practice a branch of astrology called as Lal Kitab. My God, that was very interesting to you. So I practice a branch of astrology. I'm a student of astrology. And one of the things in astrology is explained, you know, that for this planet, you should do this remedy. Lal Kitab astrology, very remedial based kind of an astrology. So some of it, you know, if you want to improve your Mercury planet, you should light a lamp in front of Tulsi. That is one of the remedies. And we do that not as a remedy. We do it because of our lifestyle, you know. And then it says one of the other remedies is to offer argya to Surya. We offer, you know, when we're chanting our Gayatris, that is the three sandhyas, we remember our gurus, we are then Narayana Namaskrityam. We chant before we chant our prayers. We offer. So even when I was studying astrology, I'm seeing that most of our lifestyle that we have within our society, you know, waking up during Brahma Muhurat. There was a manifestation podcast that I was invited to be a part of. And we were talking, and one of them said, you know, they read an article that the best time for manifestation is during 4 o'clock in the morning. And I said, oh, I knew that right from the beginning. You know, when I was 15 years old, I was told that Brahma Muhurat is the time, and that's the time we're actually manifesting, aren't we? We're chanting Guru Ashtakam, and we're offering Aarti to Tulsi Devi, and what are we praying? Radha Krishna Seva Pao, Ei Abhilashi. Here we're talking about saying our manifestations aloud, right? It's a new concept. No, it's there within our scriptures way long back. It was already there. We're already manifesting this during Brahma Muhurat. We're saying Radha Krishna Seva Pao, Ei Abhilashi. This is my desire, that may I be constantly engaged in the service of Radha and Krishna. So all of these concepts that seem very trending, it actually has its roots within our scriptures. It's truly there. So good fortune arises when we actually start practicing these principles. And similarly, when we experience this daya that we are now experiencing because of having this merciful, understanding the mercy that Lord Chaitanya has given us through these 10 different characteristics that we described of mercy. through this verse, we definitely become fortunate. 100%. Srila Prabhupada guaranteed that. He said, even if you cannot perfect your life in one lifetime, there is no loss, because you will only be benefited by this practice. So this is also one of the dayas. Let's do a quick recap. What was the first? You can open, you can cheat a little bit. It's allowed. Material lamentation. And what was that called? Helut Kedaya. Correct. What was the second one?
Vishadaya.
Vishadaya. What does that do? What does that mean?
It purifies everything.
Purifies everything. And what was the third one? And what was that?
Transcendental bliss.
Awakens the transcendental bliss within our hearts. And the fourth?
Vivadaya.
Vivadaya. What was that?
Sacrifice.
Reconciling the disagreements, not disagreements. Finishing those disagreements, right? Mitigates those disagreements. And the fifth?
Rasadaya.
Rasadaya. What was Rasadaya? That's an easy one.
Transcendental.
Transcendental mellows. And
Unmadaya.
Chittopiton Madaya. What was that?
Jubilee.
Of the Chitta, consciousness of the heart. And seventh?
Vinodaya.
Vinodaya. What is Vinodaya?
Stimulating.
Devotional service. Very good. And eighth?
Samadaya.
Madaya. Mother is intoxicated with what? Ecstasy. Yes. And Madhurya, Maryadaya. Limit of love and limitless. And what was the last one? Daya, Amandodaya. And what was that?
Good fortune.
Good fortune rises. So simply by experiencing this wonderful verse and the 10 different characteristics of Daya, of Lord Chaitanya, we can perfect our life. You know, this is maybe a beautiful verse to memorize before God Purnima. Or even reciting the Saci-Sutashtakam that describes the beauty of Lord Chaitanya. All we need to do is open our mind and hearts to receive this. That's all we really need to do. And I forgot to ask Mataji, till what time do I have? Are we over time? Time to stop. I hope. Thank you so much for allowing me to be here and to share this verse. Maybe we can recite this verse once together, and then we can conclude. Heluddhunnita khedaya vishadaya pronadmilad amodaya Shamya Shastra Vivadaya Rasadaya Chittorpiton Madaya Shashvat Bhakti Vinodaya Samadaya Madhurya Maryadaya Shri Chaitanya Daya Nidhe Tavadaya Bhuyada Mundo Daya Shri Prabhupada ki. Yes. Any reflections? You have a question? I can try to answer your question. Yes, Mataji. Is there a mic that we're sending around, or I can repeat your question? Go ahead, Mataji.
Animals, they're feeling ecstatic joy and then they're dancing. I'm feeling so many times I'm having animal-like mentality, but when I'm having a few devotees of meditation, still my conscious is saying it is not changing. So, I,
You sometimes yes, sorry. So her question was that she thinks that she has animal-like mentality. I don't think so. But she thinks she has animal-like mentality, and when she's hearing the pastime of Lord Chaitanya delivering the animals in Jarikhanda forest, where he had even the animals chanting the holy name, she says, but I'm trying to chant, and that's not really cleansing. Sometimes, first of all, I don't think you have animal-like tendencies. The very fact that you've chosen a Saturday evening to be here, animals don't prefer to do that. So sometimes we think that we are not making progress. It's like cleaning. How many of us, when we clean our house, it's when we start cleaning, we start seeing all the dirt, right? The house looks very clean right now. But the minute I take a broom in my hand and I start to sweep, all the dirt we start seeing. That doesn't mean the cleaning is not happening. We just start experiencing, we start seeing that there is so much dirt. I thought, oh my God, the house looked clean. Oftentimes when we're not practicing Krishna consciousness, we feel that, oh, we're leading a good life. But the minute we start practicing Krishna consciousness, we become introspective. We start seeing our own flaws. We start seeing our shortcomings. It's like cleaning the house. Okay? You may start seeing, oh my God, there's so much dirt here. There's cobwebs here. There's, unclean dishes here. That's because you're now cleaning. It's a very temporary phase. And that's when we start experiencing and we feel we're not making progress. But that's not true. Cleansing is going on. Cleansing is 100% going on. It's only a matter of time when the room will be cleaned. That is the faith we need to have in the teachings of Lord Chaitanya. At one point, I remember some realization I had. Someone was telling me, oh, I've got teenage boys. How are we going to convince them to practice Krishna consciousness, this, that? And I say, you know what? I don't try to convince my children to practice Krishna consciousness. I don't have faith in my own parenting, but I have faith in the process of Krishna consciousness. That is the faith we all need to have. We need to have faith in the process of Krishna consciousness. What that means is that if we are practicing what Krishna consciousness requires us to do, purification is inevitable. There's no need to become discouraged. If we're becoming discouraged, then that actually means we're losing our faith, right? Because faith actually means that we should not be discouraged. I used up all their battery power. They're going to throw me out and say, you can't come next time.
We'll come with more batteries.
So, does that answer your question anyway, Mataji? Does that help? Yes, Prabhu.
Just have a question.
Sure.
When I was growing up,
When you were growing up, okay.
you know, I think we were in the today.
Uh-huh.
So we went to a picnic.
Oh.
So in those days, I don't know about Krishna conscious. So I used to take in the school environment. I was thinking, what is the future of all the students? What should we do in
In 8th grade, you were thinking that. Wow.
future?
Hmm.
Because we are in a very one of the best schools in my class.
Mhm.
And school, and students are all brilliant. No question on that. So many kids are
Their parents are either engineers or doctors or, lawyers.
Uh-huh.
So the general thing is, if you buy a IPS, a lot of money, then, once you are wealthy now, you can be very happy in life.
Mhm.
So now, when we went to the picnic, look at how material world plays its real joke. One of the richest kids in the family in our school, he died in the picnic. He was in seventh grade. So the
How did-
bus
Oh,
was parked on the other side of the picnic bus, and the
Thank
students
you.
were allowed. If you want to take a break,
mhm.
just take a break to go to the open field, right? Kids want to go for nature car or whatever. So this kid, he crossed the road, and then he went for a nature call, and then he was coming back on the road to the bus, and right from the city, we were halfway to the picnic spot. Right in the halfway point, one rash driver,
Mm.
he drank, and then he was on the way, drunk driving.
Oh my goodness.
So this kid, he was in seventh grade only. We were in eighth grade, and then the car came and hit him real hard.
Oh, that's a very sorry incident.
So then on the spot, maybe he was dragged around by 50 feet or maybe 100 feet, and his skull broke, and then he died on the spot. And he's one of the richest kids in the school. And I was now, many times it came to me, am I wasting my time in Krishna branches? Maybe I should be making more and more money. Then, but when I hear these prayers, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's prayers, that pleasure which money can give, there is no guarantee. There is no guarantee that money can give me that real happiness. But when I hear these prayers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is guaranteeing you the bliss. That, that bliss in the holy name, the rasa is there. I feel very much satisfied and very much pacified by hearing the guarantees of Sri Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Mhm. Thank you for sharing that, Prabhu. That's a very sorry incident. I do want to say one thing that, we're not against making money. We should all make money. Why? Because we can support temples. We can support. I remember there was a beautiful thing that my Guru Maharaj once told me. And, as a young teenage girl, I was an architecture student. I went to him and I said, I don't want to study, I don't want to do architecture. And he said, from next time, you're going to show me your report card. So I had to get my grades up because I had to get it signed from him. So it became an impetus. And at that point, he said something really beautiful, which I didn't at that point understand at all. But it's like maybe 20, 25 years later, his words really resonate and make sense. He said, that time my name was Gayatri. So he said, Gayatri, if you want to fly high, but for a very long time, then you must learn the art of balancing. Okay. So if we want to practice Krishna consciousness throughout our lives and beyond, right? And we want to fly high in Krishna consciousness, we want to be blissful, we want to be happy, then we need to learn the art of balancing. When I say the art of balancing, I mean that we have our needs for the body and we have needs for the soul. So sometimes people only focus on the body and neglect the soul. They're also miserable. And sometimes people only focus on the soul. If they focus only on the soul, they can really achieve something. But that process is not very easy. The failure rate is very high. If you just focus on soul, the path is a little more difficult, right? To even go for any spiritual function. Suppose you want to go for a religious yatra. You're going to need money to do that. You're going to need resources to do that. So if we want to fly, especially for us who live in houses, who have responsibilities, social and economic, we need to learn the art of balancing, because we want to fly high and for an extended period of time. So Krishna consciousness is all about understanding the needs of the body, trying to minimize the needs of the body, and at the same time, expanding the needs of the soul in a gradual process, right? I just wanted to add that. Maybe with this we can stop. You have something to say, maybe a last comment. Is that a question or a comment? Question.
What is the difference between Advaita and Achintya Advaita?
So Advaita is when we see everything becomes one, right? Like, well, there's different concepts. Let's not confuse so much into that. There's Brahmavadi, Shunyavadi, everything. Some people believe that everything becomes null and void and becomes destroyed, right? Some people believe that everything merges into the effulgence of the Lord, right? Saying that they give example, like if you have a drop of water and you put it in the ocean, then you don't know which is which drop. You basically lose your identity, right? That is one concept, Advaita. Dvaita is that it's separate, everything remains separate. That water has its own identity, that ocean has its own identity, they remain separate. Achinta Bheda Bheda Tattva understands that there is the Brahman effulgence of the Lord, and beyond the Brahman effulgence of the Lord, there is a person who you can have a relationship with. So the effulgence also exists, doesn't negate it. The effulgence exists, but that is only temporary. It's basically seeing that I'm seeing the sunlight, right? I'm seeing the sunlight. Then when the sun, so before it's dawn, you don't even see the sun. You just see that, it's become bright, right? That's the sunlight is there. Then you notice that there is sun. A circular thing, you're seeing that a sun exists. But if you look beyond that, you know that there is someone who is represented, who is the person. Vivaswan is there. We know there is a sun god, right? So that is the deeper understanding. That is what Achinta Bheda Bheda Tattva says, that there exists, the sun rays also exist, the planet also exists, and the person also exists. Right? Of course, it's a very technical subject matter for the benefit of, which is greatly described in depth, but let's not complicate that for everyone. But to understand in brief. Hare Krishna. So Jai Shri Prabhupada ki Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhe vacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo Ananta Koti Vaishnavavrinda ki Jai. Prabhupada. Should I turn this off or how does it work?
I will have the nursing prayer.
Oh, we have Narasimha prayers. No, someone else, please.
Want to sing Krishna?
Want to sing Narasimha prayers?
Okay. Then I would like to, then I given such a nice discourse on beautiful verse. I was remembering we used to recite that verse every day in our Bascom temple after every temple program.
Oh,
It was Saci-Sutashtakam favorite verse. That's how I learned that verse. Yeah. After every program on Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday, we have to recite this.
oh my.
So
I
thank
didn't
you
know
so
that.
much for reminding me.
Thank you, ma'am.
भक्तराज प्रहलाद महाराज कंटिन्यू कीर्तन को
कॅमेरा ऑफ केलाय.
राधे गोविंदे ब्राह्मणे वैष्णवे राजन् जायते विद्यजान् ज्योतिन्द्रियतारिका वे पहले विषय सागरे तार मध्ये जीवाति सरे श्री चैतन्य निताय जय निमाय जय निताय जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य Krishna 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 to sit where you can place your plates on the mat. That way, even if anything spills, you can catch on the mat and it's easy for also clean. So please help us maintain the cleanliness over here. And again, once again, thank you to my grace Govinda Priya Mataji for giving us such a wonderful discourse today and enlightening us with the pure love of Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna. And thank you to all the folks. Honorary Romans for this.
Today we have the cooks Sukhada Gauranga Prabhuji, and Hema and three of them. If any of you would like to help in cooking, then let us know. It was like myself and Radhika Prema were discussing on the phone, and that time Sukhada Gauranga calls me and say, I want to make it this. And I say, okay, the committee was completely changed. So that's how the impromptu service is the real devotional service. And he made around 200 idlis, and Hema made sambar and chutney and sweets and rice. Thank you so much.